Hey guys, I'm back for another video, and welcome to RP Games Engine update number 12. And this is version alpha 1.5. Finally, it's been 2 months in the making, but oh my goodness, is it worth it? Oh, there's been a lot of improvements in this version, and a lot of bug fixes, and really just making the game more polished and playable. So, let's get right into it. So the first feature, as you could probably see, is that the buttons have white text instead of black text. And if you look very closely, you can see a drop shadow behind every piece of text here, except for the title, which has its own little thing going on there. And this is a huge change. Look at this. The options menu actually has legit options, like debug mode. It has video settings, such as the brightness and shadows. As you can see, the shadows turn on and off. That's a new feature, which is kind of demanding on the computer, so I set it as a toggle just in case someone's computer can't run it. I also have a global brightness, which I can set like this, and they have minimal values. So this one has a minimum of 20, but I leave this gap here so you can see what 0 would be, and then it goes all the way to 100. So there's sliders now, which were very difficult to implement. But, oh my goodness, are they worth it, because now I can do this. And the minimum brightness looks something like that. And I added Gaussian blur. So, I mean, this would be a boring thing to say it's the menu update, but that's really what it's been. There's a lot of improvements to the menu. So, yeah, Gaussian blur in the background, which is amazing. So, there's some other things, too. There's sound settings, which actually work. See, as you can see, everything's quieter now. And then it gets louder and louder. And there's no music in this version, unfortunately, because I got to get on Glenn with that. I got no original music to put in this game just yet, so we'll leave that off for now. And all these settings save when you turn the game off as well, which is nice. So we'll go done. And then we got the controls menu. Now, this is interesting. If you were to have 4 controllers hooked up to your computer, you can toggle between the keyboard and mouse and all 4 controllers, but they will not come up unless they're plugged in. So I have one gamepad plugged in right now, Xbox 360 controller, so I could just click on this. And as you can see, now I'm using a gamepad. See, the mouse isn't moving. And then I could go to the player screen, which has nothing in it right now. Actually, yeah, so I can just navigate the menus with that. But for now, let's go back keyboard and mouse. There we go. Now you can use this. So in this screen, it shows off another feature of the game. And these are text boxes, so I can just be like, hello, everyone. But, of course, that won't do anything for now. So this is kind of an empty text box that doesn't do anything. I know it technically is supposed to say your player name, but, again, this whole screen's going to be done in the next version anyway. So let's just ignore this for now. And let's go into the load save menu. Now, there's been an improvement. There's a create new world button. Now, this is interesting because when I do this, you get all these things here. So, world name, let's call it YouTube. And then we'll go start area width and height. So, let's make it, I don't know, how about 100 by 100? Actually, yeah, let's just make it 100 by 100. Alright, so, boop, 100 by 100, create world. And if I were to press done, it would undo all this and just go back. But here we go. Boop. And there you go. We created the start area of a new save called YouTube. Now, the way we can see that, as you can see, all the GUI is gone. That's because I'm not in debug mode anymore. So if I were to go to options, debug true, and then go back, as you can see, all the GUI stuff comes up. And they also have their own drop shadow, which makes them look pretty nice. But, of course, his background makes it hard to see. So if I were to go in the level editor, use fill, give 4. Not 4, grass. There you go. As you can see, there is a drop shadow, and the stuff that comes up in chat also has a drop shadow, which is nice. Alright, now that we're in this new test world, it's time for me to show off the next feature. So I'm just going to use tile, and then I'm going to make a little square thingy, I don't know. So let's just be like, blah. There we go. That's our square, I don't know. And then maybe we could just be like, give 3. And I could be like, that face. And then now if I were to use duplicate, I can select this, and then instead of just pasting it, I can do this, /rotate 90. And now the whole thing is rotated by 90 degrees. Now I can do that again. And then, of course, I could do it one more time. And this does work in more than just 90. I could just be like rotate 180, which is essentially just flipping it. And then I could also do rotate 720, which in reality would do absolutely nothing because it's just spinning around twice. And it will simplify any big number you give it. So you can give it like 10,000 as long as it's like a multiple of 32. Actually, here's the interesting thing. Not a multiple of 32, a multiple of 90. So I could just be like rotate... /rotate 80, and then nothing will happen, of course, because it doesn't know how to rotate by 80 degrees, because you can't do that in a system with square tiles. Alright, now that that's done, let's go hop into our main save. So let's go to load save, main save, and then we're back here again to show off the next feature. So here we go. Boom. As you can see, there's a greet message for areas now. So that one said home. And of course, this is the upstairs, so it's not going to say home again, of course. And the way that works is that this area has a greet message of home, and so does this one. And then in the code it says if it's the same greet message, then don't replay it. So that's how I got it to do that. And then if I were to go back outside, Pallet Town, for the win. And then if I were to go up here, Route 1. Now, of course, the doors are still broken. I got to fix that, but, you know, we'll make progress as we go. Now, every single area does not have a greet message. For example, I could go here, and nothing will come up. See? So, there's a property that you can set to areas called greet message, and then you could give it anything you want. I could just be like, /set greet, hello world. And you have to put an underscore to symbolize a space, but then it doesn't display the underscore when it comes up. Here, I'll show you. So, there you go. Area greet message set to hello world. And then if I were to leave the area and come back, then it will say hello world. So, that is that. One other feature I have is if I were to do actually, if I were to just spam the chat with ASDs. Okay, so now chat's all filled with ASDs, and I don't want that. So I could just be like /clear chat. And everything disappears nice and clean. So that's a fun little command. So if you're on a multiplayer server, people are arguing, you don't want to see it, just clear the chat and it all disappears. But then it'll fill up again. So maybe I'll have a mute feature in the future. That'd be cool. So again, with the Gaussian blur, it finally works again, even in the inventories. So as you can see in the background here, it's slightly blurred. And all memory leaks, of course, have been squashed. Oh, another thing I might want to address. In the last episode, I said that this game was going to be using 3 gigabytes of RAM, or at least at the time it was. But now that those leaks have been fixed, I can gladly say that even after all this browsing I did running around multiple areas and changing things with commands, it's only gone up to 300 megabytes. Now again, I'm going to go down even more. My goal is somewhere around 150 megs of RAM, like continuously. And I think that's very easy to achieve. So, yeah, hopefully we can get that going. But 300 megs, let's be honest, guys, that's a third a gig. And most people's computers nowadays have at least 4 gigs. Mine has 16. And some of the YouTubers I watch have like 32 and 64 gigs, which is completely unnecessary in my opinion, but you know. Now, one thing that you cannot see that I've updated is that I started using what's called XML to store data in the game. From up until this point, I was using notepad files to store things such as the levels, the settings, and a whole bunch of game data such as like how certain tiles behave, what their textures are for objects and NPCs and all that. So what I'm starting to do, I just started with this, so there's only one XML file actually integrated into the game, and that's the settings. But yeah, so I'm starting to use XML, which is more professional and it's more organized. Now, the reason why I started doing that is that I started work on communicating with NPCs. So having multiple options, having it so that they progress in a story, like they tell you different things. And the only way to organize all that text is with XML instead of just dumping it in a notepad file. That would just be overcomplicated. And just to prove I started doing all of that, I've got my first contestant right here, which doesn't have their own official skin yet. But, hello, ThirtyVirus. I am here to test if NPCs can talk. I hope it works. So there you go. And actually, when it says ThirtyVirus, I actually typed in an @ symbol. And what that means is that whenever the code sees an @ symbol, it will replace it with the username of the person that's playing. So if I were to be, I don't know, Bob. Here, you know what? I can do this now. Log on Bob. And then I could lead him over into there to talk to Professor Oak, which doesn't look like Professor Oak. Boop. Hello, Bob. I am here to test if NPCs can talk. I hope it works. See? They can actually, like, detect who is talking to them, which I think is pretty awesome. Here, let's kick Bob. We don't need him. There we go. He's gone. So, yeah, I'm hoping in the next episode, or the next update, that there's actual NPCs that can follow certain commands. Like, they'll be able to walk in certain ways, act in certain ways, and be able to do choreographed things, like for a story. Like, be able to walk up to you and initiate some sort of a message. Or maybe shout at you from a distance, and then you could see the message come up, which is why I have this command. /send message. I can't speak today. Then I could just be like, actually, before I do that, I need to put the username, so ThirtyVirus, and then put in all that, and then it does that. So, yeah. Alright, guys, this was a short update video for several reasons, one of which is that my voice is kind of dead. You can probably hear that. And another reason is that most of the work that I put into this was bug fixes and polishing and making the game actually work, and not just have a bunch of features that are kind of half done. So this was definitely a huge important update. And if you want to get this game, I have a Patreon page dedicated specifically for this, and all patrons get access to my in-dev builds, including this one. Once you get the game, I would recommend that once you get in, you go and do /help, and then it will tell you what to do from there. It should be like type /help, then a command, no dash for how to use it. You can also get help for concepts such as subjects, modes, and selections. So then I could just be like /help, and then the ones you're going to use the most in the level editor is going to be, I think it's going to be use. Use changes the mode that you are using in a level editor. Format, use mode. So just for reference, some of the modes are tile, object, NPC, door, erase, duplicate, and I think that's it for now. Oh, and there's also select, the selection tool. So of course I will be showing more of that stuff off. I already did, but maybe I'll make a video just kind of as a tutorial on how to make levels in this, but maybe a couple updates down the road, because I want this game to be nice and polished and somewhat in a finished state almost before I actually give tutorials, because then things are subject to change and the tutorial might be outdated. So, yep, that's how you get the game. I hope you do, because I would really want to get this game kickstarted. Now, I'm also going to be doing a Kickstarter, actually, along the terms of kickstarting. Yeah, I don't know how that works. Hopefully, I can get that up in a couple days, maybe a week. We'll see. So, anyway, that's it. So, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.